Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 10 aired and blessed us all. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. Welcome to Clone Wars and Chill. Clone Wars and Chill is our Star Wars Doctrine show where we talk about all things Clone Wars, breaking down Season 7. And it's been such a fun time doing this and a pleasure to be able to do it with y'all. Thank you for the support. This episode, like I said, I don't even know where to begin. First and foremost, there just isn't enough words to be said to do this episode justice. I can't even. I literally can't even. But seriously, as you all know, if you've seen it, there's just so much to dive into and just so much amazingness. It's already rated as like one of the highest cartoon episodes in like cartoon history. It's just amazing. I don't even know where to start. It was Clone Wars, but on drugs. Like absolutely the most amazing cartoon, visual, everything. It was just everything. And if the next two episodes are anything like this, we're in for a treat. And I really just can't wait to see where these go. I feel like they're going to be something that I watch over and over and over and over again this arc. So the title, Phantom Apprentice, has some pretty cool, it's just a pretty cool foreshadowing. I don't know if foreshadowing is the right word, but just parallels and everything like that. Probably refers to Ahsoka and Maul in a way, because neither of them were really like, you know, they kind of, well, Maul was done being a Sith because he got cut in half. Ahsoka left the order willingly, but either way, both of them were like the Phantom Apprentice in a way. Kind of, you know, Maul feels like he was replaced by Dooku, and Ahsoka just doesn't feel like she belongs in the order. So it almost makes sense in a weird, twisted way for them to team up, although obviously, you know, that's not exactly what's going to happen or doesn't happen, but they're almost like perfect for each other in a weird kind of twisted way like that. So the episode begins with Maul, you know, where we left off, just like a movie. It's just one right after another, which is amazing. And Maul's, you know, has his line where he's like, "Why are you here? I was hoping for Kenobi." And Ahsoka kind of throws it back in his face. Well, they were, you know, doing something more important. And that definitely got to Maul. And obviously we know that they're off rescuing the Chancellor, Anakin and Obi-Wan together, kind of around the same time, and dealing with all of that. So pretty exciting stuff. Maul kind of goes off about how Sidious is seizing power and he's going to wipe out the Jedi, and he's talking about someone's going to take over, and Ahsoka's like, "Who, you?" And he's like, "No, Sidious." And Ahsoka's not too familiar with that term or with the name Darth Sidious, but obviously Obi-Wan and Anakin have learned it and from Dooku, and he doesn't get too into details yet. Maul doesn't, but obviously Ahsoka's got some questions, and so she goes to Obi-Wan, and he's about to be sent to Utapau to capture Grievous, or well, we know he's going to end up killing him. So we're like, I don't know, an hour into Revenge of the Sith at this point, and he tells Ahsoka, you know, some really interesting things. He tells Ahsoka, number one, that Anakin killed Count Dooku. And I found this to be really interesting because he is all praise for Anakin after he does it. He's like, "Anakin, you deserve your day with the politicians. You know, you killed Count Dooku and rescued me and the Chancellor, carrying me on your back. You know, it's like all good things." But interesting enough, when he talks to Ahsoka, he's like, "You know, Dooku was our only lead onto finding out who Sidious was, and Anakin just offed him. He killed him." And it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Like, Darth Sidious obviously didn't want Dooku to be captured alive. It would give Dooku the chance to talk to the Jedi, who he used to be one, so there's a good chance they could eventually get some stuff out of him. I mean, in Attack of the Clones, he was willing to tell Obi-Wan that Darth Sidious has infiltrated his way into the Republic and kind of controls everything. Obi-Wan just didn't really believe him. But Dooku gets offed. Ahsoka obviously surprised by that news, but Obi-Wan says, "Hey, we need you to capture Maul now. Like, your duty is a lot more important now because he's our next best lead now that Dooku's dead." And I thought it was really interesting, and it really makes sense, you know, someone tapped in with the dark side, someone who has connections to Sidious and had connections would be a good target to want to capture. And obviously we know at the end of the episode they do. He basically tells Ahsoka to call Anakin and says, hey, he's going through some hard stuff. Tells him about how the council has Anakin spying on the Chancellor. And it's funny because Ahsoka has the same reaction Anakin does. Like, wow, that's messed up. You're going to make him mad with that. That's his friend. And that's because Ahsoka and Anakin spent a lot of time together. From an outside person looking in, we know Sidious is the bad guy. So it makes sense for the council to ask Anakin to spy on him. But from their point of view, it's, well, he's been a friend to me, and this is really kind of against the rules of what the Jedi do, and it kind of goes against the politics of everything. So, but I obviously it was the right move for the council to do, but you can see the distrust in Ahsoka, who already kind of has her face shaken in the Jedi Order in general. So that conversation gets interrupted, so she never does call Anakin, which is just heartbreaking. It would be awesome if she would have, and you never know if she would have been able to help him. Maybe he would have opened up to her about Padme. I highly doubt it, but Ahsoka just really got Anakin, and so I would like to think that there would have been a little bit of help in that realm, but who knows, and we'll never know. Unfortunately, Ahsoka runs off to try and capture Maul again and gets down to business and doesn't realize she's never probably talking to Anakin again, at least while he's Anakin, that is. So Maul, they find out, is really here on Mandalore because he had this Force vision, and he knows about Sidious taking over the galaxy, and he is pretty scared about it, in fact. And he actually, one of the cool scenes is he tells his Shadow Collective to go into hiding. He's that scared. He's like, I don't want my Shadow Collective to get wiped out by Sidious, because Sidious is going to do everything to make sure he has absolute power. So wisely, obviously, Maul tells some of the leaders of his crime syndicates to go underground, go into hiding. Let's let this play out, and then we'll see what we can do from there. But he knows he'll lose his power if they're out in the open, if Sidious catches on to what he has going on. Interestingly enough, Dryden Voss was there, which was an awesome Easter egg throwback to Solo, who Dryden Voss is... why is the name escaping me now? Wow. But the crime syndicate in Solo, who's the main protagonist of whatever the heck it's called. I know it's going to come to me. Sorry about that, guys. But the main protagonist there in Solo is Dryden Voss. So getting to see him, where we haven't seen him in any other canon that I'm aware, maybe some novels and things like that, but that's about it. And then that's obviously who recruits Kira, and that's how that whole Solo story goes. But to see Dryden taking orders from Maul was super cool. And they obviously go into hiding, and it ends up working out well because we know Maul still has some sort of power by the time Solo comes around, and his collective isn't wiped out necessarily by Sidious or anything. So smart move by Maul. But we also learn that Maul, in his visions, learned that Palpatine had been kind of preparing and grooming Anakin to become Darth Vader, to become his new apprentice. And he understands that that's a main part of the plan, is turning Anakin to the dark side. So Maul basically got the Siege of Mandalore together to lure Obi-Wan, who he figured Anakin would follow since he's, his apprentice, they're kind of partners. And he thought that would be his chance to kill. Obviously, he probably wanted to kill Obi-Wan too, but he wanted to kill Anakin as well, which surprised me. And I thought he just was trying to get Obi-Wan there to kill Obi-Wan. Like I said, that's probably a good part of it, but he wanted to kill Anakin because he thought, well, I need to get back at Sidious, and if I kill his precious chosen one, then it's going to foil Sidious's plan, and he won't take over the galaxy. And he obviously doesn't want Sidious to take over the galaxy, which you would think is weird, but it's really out of spite. That's just kind of Maul in general, I think. He doesn't want him to because he's not his apprentice anymore. Obviously, if Maul was his apprentice, he'd be all for it, but he's that angry that he got left behind, and Count Dooku was picked as his new apprentice, and now Anakin. It's a jealousy thing for Maul. Hence why he's, he holds on to his hate, which makes him such a cool villain with such a cool arc, because he's just motivated by his hate and his jealousy, and that's about it. He puts a lot of effort into that. Obviously he wants power and stuff as well, but he also wants to see the people who have hurt him suffer. It's such a cool arc that he has, truthfully, throughout the entire entirety of the Clone Wars. So he asks Ahsoka to join him, which I actually called in my last video, said that that's most likely going to be what happens because that's kind of the theme in Star Wars. And surprisingly, Ahsoka was like, okay, like, I see that you are onto something, and I'll join you. But then she says, you just got to answer one question. Why do you want Anakin? And Maul reveals to her that Anakin is going to turn to the dark side. And that one thing right there is the reason Ahsoka decides not to join Maul. Because she fully believes that there is no way he could be telling the truth, because she knows Anakin, and Anakin would never turn to the dark side. Had she been willing to believe that Anakin would turn to the dark side, she may have joined Maul. They may have done something to stop everything that happened, but she automatically assumed, no, Maul's lying. And he wasn't. That's what's so crazy about it is, he's obviously a pathological liar, so I don't blame her for not trusting him. And she knows Anakin. And why would you believe someone you love as a brother could turn to the dark side and do what Anakin did? Obviously you wouldn't. So she assumes he's lying. But that's just so crazy to think how Maul knew everything that was going on. I think that's such a cool detail. And it was this close to Ahsoka and Maul joining forces. I don't know how that would have worked, but it would have been quite interesting to see. So they obviously, decide to fight it out because Ahsoka decides not to join him, thinks he's crazy and lying, and he really is crazy. He's so scared of this vision and everything that he has that he's sounding like a crazy person. He reminded me of like a crackhead who's, he's not making eye contact with Ahsoka. He's looking around and just like, he's paranoid because he knows what's coming and he feels it. And it looks like he's just a crazy person, but he's totally onto whatever's going on. He's like, smarter than the rest of them because of this dream and is in touch with the dark side. It makes sense that he would feel it coming because he is so in touch with the dark side. Yoda always says the dark side clouds everything, but if you're so in tune with the dark side like Maul is, maybe you can kind of see and feel that. It's not going to cloud it for you because you're one with the dark side, for lack of better term. So it makes sense to me that he'd be able to figure it out. It's a really cool little tie-in. Well, one of the best lines though was Ahsoka, while they're fighting, Ahsoka says, "You're lucky Anakin didn't show up. The way you're fighting, you wouldn't last long." And that was awesome because I fully believe that. I fully believe Anakin would have kicked Maul's booty, and like he did Count Dooku. But you never know. It would have been a fun fight though, and I do think that it's unfortunate we never got to see that. That would have been pretty awesome. So they have an epic battle, which, by the way, is one of the best battles I've ever witnessed in all of Star Wars canon, and I'm not just saying that or exaggerating. I fully do believe that, and you probably couldn't convince me otherwise. And as a lot of you may have seen me posting it and sharing it, or you just saw it on your own, but Dave Filoni talked about this fight since last Star Celebration. He told us that this fight is going to be a lot of motion capture with Ray Park as Darth Maul, and that it would feel more like Darth Maul than any other fight. And he wasn't exaggerating at all. You can check out some of the video I posted on the page on Instagram and Facebook, or you can go to Star Wars' YouTube and you can see the full video of how they did the motion capture for it. Now, they weren't able to pull every last scene as motion capture because it didn't translate as well as they hoped, but all of it is inspired completely by Ray Park's Maul. And you watch the footwork and you can tell it's Ray Park. It matches up so well with Ray Park's stuff. If you follow him on Instagram, the stuff he posts matches up so well with the Phantom Menace Episode 1, Darth Maul fighting, who was Ray Park, obviously. So it's just incredible. And the fight scene was just beautiful. I can't even... I could watch it all day. Though the only disappointing part to me was the end. I would have liked it to have gone a little differently on the beams. Ultimately, Ahsoka loses her lightsabers. Maul could have... It's kind of trending right now. Why didn't Maul just cut the beam to kill her? And I don't really know why. I thought that's what he was going to do. But Ahsoka's able to kind of outsmart him and get him to fall off. And she saves him by forcing him. Probably because... I don't know if she just felt it's the right thing to do, or if it was because of what Obi-Wan said, that we need him captured, not dead. So maybe that's why. Or maybe she knew he's good at staying alive, and a fall might not even have killed him. But ultimately, they're able to capture him. And then the clones stun him and take him aboard. But as he's, freezing there, he's like, just let me die. He says, we're going to burn. We're all going to die, which shows you how really scared he is of what's to come with Sidious. Some little fun stuff on the Mandalorian battle that's kind of going on at the same time is that Gar Saxon, he's wearing that really awesome Maul looking armor. He kind of goes to town with Bo-Katan, which is awesome, in the elevator, and she obviously, they escape, both of them go their separate ways, but in the end, Maul pretty much bails on them. They he reaches out to Maul, and he's like, hey, we need backup, we need help, we're getting overwhelmed, and Maul's basically like, sorry, Mando, I'm out, like, you're on your own, dude, shouldn't have trusted me, basically. And obviously he feels completely defeated and backstabbed, which Maul, like we said earlier, doesn't care about anyone but himself. But ultimately, in the end, the clones and Bo-Katan's Mandos are able to take over Mandalore, and they overcome Maul's little force of Mandos, who he really didn't care about to begin with anyways. He was just a little big setup. So, let's see. Oh, I should mention this as well. Lauren Mary Kim is the one who did the stunts and mocap for Ahsoka, and she did an incredible job as well. Seriously, like, you can go watch that video once again. I highly recommend it. They both did amazing. Their choreography and everything with them together is just absolutely amazing, her and Ray Park. One couple of other just fun Easter eggs I found in the episode was that Maul talks about Saxon and Rook Kast, liberating him from being imprisoned and tortured by Sidious and Dooku. And that, if you didn't know, happens in the Son of Dathomir comic series. It's actually, right now, they're running a thing on Kindle where you can get a free download of it if you have Kindle. So that was pretty cool. I went ahead and grabbed that. I've been thumbing through that a little bit. It's kind of fun, but a really good comic series that kind of fills in what happened with Maul between us seeing him last captured by Sidious after Sidious killed his brother Savage Opress and now, and how he got to here. So these Mandalorians that rescued him, those are the same people that Maul just completely turns his back on. So pretty ungrateful. And then I did have it written down here. Dryden Voss, who I was saying earlier and I couldn't remember his dang name, or the dang name of the syndicate, is Crimson Dawn. Sorry about that. Y'all are probably way ahead of me on that. So Crimson Dawn is that syndicate, which is part of Maul's Shadow Collective. I thought it was really interesting. My favorite part of this entire episode was just the fact that Maul knows so much of Order 66 and the grand plan. He doesn't exactly know how it's all going to go down. I kind of felt like maybe he would be the one to figure out that there's chips in the clones, or somehow he would tell them, and that's how Rex would get his out, but that didn't happen, especially when he's interrogating that one clone. But I do think that there's still more to come, as now that he's captured. Obviously, he's going to get away somehow. Be interesting if that's among Order 66, and during that time he's able to escape. But it'll definitely be interesting to learn more about what Maul knows and see if he helps Ahsoka in any way. It makes you wonder, too, how much he knew about Sidious's grand plan when he was Sidious's apprentice, before he was cut in half, didn't die, but presumed dead. Makes you wonder what Sidious had told him. I'm sure Sidious, kept a lot of secrets, because that's what he does. He's the master plan, and he's always one step ahead of everyone. And if you look at, the fact that he survived until episode 9 through cloning and transferring his essence, he obviously was able to do things that even Vader didn't know he could do when Vader threw him off the down the shaft on the Death Star. So he's always one step ahead of everybody, and it's cool though that Maul's catching on, and next episode's coming here in a couple days, and couldn't be more excited. My guess is where this is going to go is we have to be coming up on Order 66. I don't know if it'll be this episode or next, but there's just going to be some way, and I think it's going to be through Darth Maul, that they're going to figure out a little bit more about what's going on, which is going to cause Rex to take that chip out or something. I don't know how it's going to all go down, but I can't wait to see. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, check out our other videos, run some really awesome things like our trivia challenge right now and our other podcasts. Thank you guys so much. and enjoy the next final 2 episodes of Clone Wars. I'll have a video up when they come out. And as always, may the Force be with you.